Good evening, everybody. So I'm Julia Royston, and I'm always excited to come on and introduce authors and books and people, places, things, information, and resources and tools to help you not only live your best life, but to enrich your summer. Now, I know that we're in the summertime and people are coming back out. Yay! And vaccinated and mask and that controversy and that conversation is for another show. But I want to bring you. I have one author with me right now, and there are more that should come on that are going to be talking about their children's books. And we have an event coming up, but even before the event, I really want to kind of talk about the process. And one of the main reasons why I'm so passionate about it, yeah, I'm a writer, and yes, I'm a publisher, and all that good stuff. But this past school year was a struggle. It was really hard for a lot of people, parents, as well as students, as well as teachers, as well as administrators, because we had pretty much unprecedented, unlike any other academically we've had before. So I am seeking, in one way, shape, or form, in multiple ways, but to really support that, to really help um, support the literacy effort, to provide access to books and how you can support, as well as the event that we have coming up on June 19th. Now, I know there are a lot of events out there and a lot of things going on, but I really, really, really want you all to have the opportunity to meet these authors so that your children, especially Black and Brown children, will have options. They'll have books with children that look like them and act like them and support them. Thank you so much for those of you who are joining us. Be sure and share, comment, like. If you've ever thought about writing a children's book, feel free to ask questions. Hello, and good evening. If you've ever thought about writing a children's book, be sure and jump in and put comments. I have to say, from the publisher's point of view, the children's book arena is very profitable if you can get in front of an actual active audience. So I want Sonia Moran Royston to introduce herself and tell us where we can find her on social media first, and then we're going to talk more about the children's book writing process. Sonia?
Hello, I am Lasagna Moran Royston, and you can find me on Facebook under Lasagna Moran Royston. Um, I'm just on Facebook, no other medium at this point.
And it probably takes a lot to keep up with everything going on Facebook. I know.
Yes.
So, in regards to your books, how did your I know your children are all grown and now you have grandchildren. So, how did they do this year with the those that are, because I know you have a younger one. He may not be in school yet.
He's not in
But
school yet.
oh, he's not in school yet. But the older ones, how did they do this year as far as school goes, and how did that work out for them?
I am blessed that they both did very well. I have a rising fifth grader
Oh,
and a
wow.
rising second grader, and they did really well given the circumstances. One, they opted not to put him back in the school building, so they basically did NTI. Did excellent. I'm so proud of the progress he was able to make, given just the different circumstances. And then the other little one did well also. We work really hard to make sure their reading level is up. We're constantly pushing books. Got a book in the mail today. In fact, we're constantly ordering books and passing those on, try to model reading before them so they have that good example of reading.
Right, right. Well, that's how I fell in love with books. That's how I fell, and how I, only God knows how that I landed here with this whole process. But just amazingly enough, um, with my mother used to read to us every single solitary night before we went to bed, except maybe some church Bible study time. When we were all exhausted and tired and already asleep by the time they got us in the house. and just enough to put pajamas on us and put us into bed. But otherwise, she read to us, and very dramatic and exciting reader. And, that's where I kind of model it today. And I think that's really where my love of reading has come from. My love of reading continues. So I've always been a very aggressive and active reader. And I know you have grandsons, and we were girls, so it wasn't hard for my nose to always be in a book. But how is that with the boys? How does that work? Because I didn't have any brothers.
Well, that's the interesting part. I try to keep information in front of them that they like. Books about action figures, books about sports, books about cars. We listen to them. I'm just the granny, but we listen to the things that they like, and we just try to keep interesting material in front of them. That's what it is. We don't want what's on TV or what's on the game station to capture their attention more than books and
Or at
reading.
least trying to have a balance, balance.
Yes,
We read, then we can game a little, then we go back to reading, because I
right.
know technology is really, really engaging and very captivating.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I love technology and I love books and all at the same time. But sometimes having that balance really helps, because sometimes I just want to come away from technology, if you can imagine. Because I'm in technology, Brian is too, so I want to come away from it. So, but I really encourage parents, grandparents, people, if you're in contact with young people at all. I know that there are summer camps going on, etc., that you have an opportunity or a time where they're actually turning the pages, that there's actually something, a hard book or a physical book, that they're actually turning the pages. There's something about physically turning those pages that is incredible, and something that's really, really awesome to do. So I know that there's something about turning the pages, and your mind and your eye and all that, making that connection, that really, really, really does it. So, Sonia, I'm going to go off camera, and I want you to introduce your books and what they're about and how people can find them.
Thank you. I certainly will. So my first book, The Crazy Cool Cousin Adventures, is my story. And in this book, we feature primarily boys, but we have girl readers as well. The Crazy Cool Cousin Adventures, this first book is called The Project. And ironically enough, this was written prior to this whole NTI culture that we've been in. And it just addresses a father with his son and nephews working on a school project. Now, that sounds kind of mundane, but coming out of this crazy stretch that we've been in, you had to make it fun. You had to make it creative. And so this book captures that fun and creativity that you can have working on a project. The single father, we try and spin a positive spotlight on single fatherhood. Fathers are positive role models and mentors. So we offer that as well. So the second book is The Crazy Cool Cousin Adventures, The Bully Plan. Now we know bullying is so pervasive in society. We have cyberbullying, we have workplace bullying, we have school bullying, we have all kinds of bullying. And so it's not a question of what do you do if it happens, it's what do you do when it happens. And so this bully plan just kind of spotlights, again, the single father working with his son and his nephews on having that conversation on different strategies for different situations. Sometimes it really is okay to tell an adult. Sometimes you have to just posture yourself in a way that the bully knows that you're not a pushover. We don't condone fighting or anything of that nature, because in schools, if you hit back, even if you're protecting yourself, you get in trouble as well. So we just promote having that conversation on healthy ways to handle bullying. And so with each of these books, they have coloring books. And so if you have a younger reader, The coloring books actually have some of the story also. So it might be easier for your younger reader to color as you're reading along. Whatever it takes to get your child engaged, that's what we promote. My books can be purchased off Amazon.com. You can also message me in Messenger. Contact me on Facebook. We ship anywhere. We'd be so happy to get a book in your young readers' hands this summer as you prepare them for the fall. And we would hope that they would be reading on grade level. So whatever we can do to help. Again, you can contact me at Sonia Moran Royston on Facebook, and you can purchase my books at Amazon.com.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to spotlight my books as well, and then Ms. Brianna Hogue has jumped on and as well, and so we're going to continue the conversation about writing children's books and the children's books that are available. We'll talk about the upcoming event a little bit later, but right now I really want to spotlight the books that are out there and available. Now, these are not all of my books. These are definitely not all of my children's books, even. So go to that address. It looks a little funny, but it's a place where it has all of my bookstores. It has my email, all my social media. That's basically where my whole world is. So, my personal website, my businesses websites, my email, my social media, my bookstores, my freemium, my calendar, everything is there. So solo.to/Julia A. Royston is where my information is and where you can find me, connect with me. If you're interested in publishing, if you're interested in writing, if you're interested in a class, whatever you are interested in that you know that I do or that somebody's referred you to me, feel free to reach out and go there. So one of the two latest books that I have available are first off, a big shout out to Studio 32 and Miss Tamika Nelson in Louisville, Kentucky, because she came up with this idea. She said you need to have like a little mascot, a stuffed animal or something. So I was like, really? She said, oh, wouldn't that be cute? A little BK Royston bear. Well, ta-da! There is, for those of listening on audio, it's a cute brown bear with a sweatshirt on it that has the BK Royston Publishing logo. So with every children's book order, the bear comes with it. And if you, while the supplies last, of course, but if you're in if you see me at a vending event with children's book purchases, the bear comes with it. But it also comes with the book bear. And one of the primary reasons why I did the book bear is I really wanted to focus on, first off, all nationalities of people, young people, girls, boys. So there's all the major nationalities are included in this book. So hopefully your child should be able to see themselves. And so the book bear spotlights also all different types of genres of books. So poetry, action, anything in regards to nature and animals and whatever books that most children would like to read. So that's what's inside the book bear, and really discusses reading, but especially a spotlight on all types of genres. And of course, I'm a librarian, so I want people to actually participate and, sample, have a wide range and diverse palette when they actually read. So that's the book bear. And remember, the book bear, the actual bear, comes along with every children's purchase. Then the latest book, children's book that I have is Where Are Granny and Grandpa? And even though the subject matter is a little depressing, because it's really in homage to young people who have possibly lost their grandparents over COVID or just recently, whether it was before COVID or after COVID. So I'm really Where Granny and Grandpa basically goes through the months of the year when they possibly were involved with their grandparents, holidays, and all that good stuff, so that they can remember them, but also, of course, reflect on the wonderful times and the happy times they had, even though they've gone on. So that is Where Are Granny and Grandpa. Now, those are my two latest children's books. I wrote those over COVID. Prior to Terrence the Terrific, is also about the bullying subject matter. This is the hardback version, and this is the paperback version. But he's in middle school, so this is for middle, high, teen, tween. So even though I have books for little ones, I also have books for young adults, tweens, etc. Okay. This one was written by a group of young people as well. We did that during the social uprising summer of 2020. So My Life Matters, that's available too as well. All of that, just go to solo.to/Julia A. Royston, and there's the children's bookstore as well as the Royston Royal Bookstore. So that's what this is, the actual writings for the young people themselves on their take on it, and really their essays on My Life Matters. This one, Can We Go Outside and to Play Today, this is my ode to the pandemic. I wanted to write something about it. I wanted to write something commemorative. 20 years from now, when somebody says, I remember about the global pandemic, you should be able to purchase this book that will tell you a little bit about that summer of 2020. So this is about washing your hands and all of that good stuff, and wearing masks, but it's also a child view of, if they passed by the television and saw the social uprising, what does that mean, and what does that mean to them? So Can We Go Outside to Play Today? It has been on a reading list for COVID for some time, the Red Podcast reading list for children's books. I'm very proud of that and what happened with that book. And then the last one I'm going to spotlight just this evening is called Jackie's Gift. I have a boys version as well. And so this is kind of, well, it's not kind of, but it is my series, because I believe adults and children really begin to realize their purpose and their gifts when they're young, things that they do well, things that they're able to do well. So I really enjoy doing that. So there is what I call the girls version, Jackie's Gift. This young woman is gifted to sing. I started singing when I was 8 years old. I don't sing much anymore. I sang not too long ago at one of the saints from my home church at her funeral, but otherwise I'm in my eyeballs and books. But Jackie's Gift, so she has a gift, and I want young people to realize they have a gift. And then this other one is With My Own Two Hands, that focuses on boys with their gift. We're always telling boys, keep your hands to yourself. Well, the teachers were anyway. Keep your hands to yourself. Stop touching that, whatever. But I want you to know, girls and boys to know, that they can do phenomenal things with their own two hands. I also have a young adult version of The Gifted, and then I have an adult version, The Gifted. So there's this is basically a whole series helping people realize that they've been given a gift. And my father used to say, the gifted should never be broke a day in their life, because you should always be able to create something and be creative, so that you'll never be broke a day in your life. So these are the books that I have. The Royston Children Bookstore, which is also at solo.to/Julia A. Royston, is currently on sale for the summer. So use summer reading as the discount code, and you can save 25% on all of my books. Yay! So I am super duper excited also to have Miss and Dr. Future Doctor. Okay, I'm almost there. Future Dr. Hogue. Where are we at, Dr. Hogue? Are we writing our dissertation yet?
Yes, we're writing our dissertation. Can you hear me?
Yay! So the future Dr. Brianna C. Hogue is with us this evening, and we don't worry, just stay with us. We're going to be talking about the event, but I want her to talk about her books, tell us where we can find her on social media, as well as her website. And I'm going to get on out of here and take it away, Brianna.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Julia, for the invitation and for invite me on tonight to share about my children's books. I'm excited to be in Lexington with the other amazing Black children's book authors on June 19th. I have published 2 children's books. My first book was published in 2018, and it is called Act Your Age, Sean Trinell. And this is really like a reflection of my first year of teaching. I'm a former public school teacher. I taught 5th grade in Jefferson County Public Schools in Louisville, Kentucky. And after my first year, I remember telling the students, similar to what Julia said earlier, I had really high expectations and a little bit of patience. So I was, be still, keep your hands to yourself. And a phrase that I would say often was, you need to act your age. You're going to middle school next year. And so at the end of that year, when the students were hugging me and saying how much they would miss me, I just kind of reflected. I'm like, I was so hard on these students, and not only myself, but their parents as well. I noticed that adults, we have little patience with our students. And so this story is just a humorous, fun, social skills book. Sean is making mistakes throughout the book, having a little trouble. Hopefully I'm not frozen. It's frozen on my end. Hopefully you all can see me. He is constantly being told to act his age. And so finally he gets to a point where he's like, what does that mean? And so the story is a lesson for children and adults to learn how to better communicate with students. And then also for students to understand what parents mean when they say phrases like that. So they are acting their age, but what we really mean is, to be responsible and be careful and pay attention to your body and your surroundings. So that's that story. And it's appropriate. Both books are appropriate for K through 6. The second book I published actually March 2020. It's entitled Sean Trinell, The Greatest of All Time. And it's a sequel. Sean is back. And this story, again, is based on some of my interactions with students. And Sean, he's the smartest, he's the fastest, he's the best at everything. And so we hear that phrase, the GOAT, because my students would always say, I'm the GOAT. Like we talk about Simone Biles and, some of these other athletes and different people in their field. So Sean thinks he's the best at everything. And actually, he's pretty good, but he puts other people down in the process. And so he learns a valuable lesson when no one wants to play with him, no one wants to include him, about how we can be our best selves, but we don't have to put others down. And so he talks to his mom, and then he reflects on his actions, and he goes back and he starts treating people respectfully and recognizing that everyone has gifts. So both books, like I said, are appropriate for K through 5. The first book, I have an activity sheet on my website, and it's my first and last name, brianniahogue.com. And then the second book, I included an activity guide in the back of the book. So you can see there are some questions that align with, Common Core state standards, and just some comprehension questions, application, synthesizing, some context clues, and, word decoding, and then also an art kind of, also a mental health activity where there's an affirmation activity where students can affirm each other and their gifts. This book again came out March 2020, right when COVID happened. I had to cancel this book launch. So this one, most students recognize this book, and it's a favorite, but this book is still kind of getting traction and getting out there. So this is the newest book, and I hope to see you all at the event. Currently, I am a visiting assistant professor at the University of Indianapolis, and I teach undergraduates, so I use these books to kind of help my teachers know how to communicate with students as well. So I'm really look forward to talking to teachers, parents, students, and connecting and providing some resources. So thank you for having me, Julia.
No problem, no problem. I do want you to highlight that because I think that's very, very important. I could probably name not when I was getting my master's in children's lit. That children's lit class, I didn't see nothing that looked like me. I didn't see no. I'm serious. They gave us a whole list of the only thing that we were able to kind of do on our own. We had to pick one person to read 10 biographies on them, and that was the assignment. And I picked Martin Luther King because that was the one that had 10 biographies to actually read. And so the list of, oh gosh, it had to have been over 100, because they have, Brianna, there's like a core 100 children's books that you need to have in your classroom. And most of those 100 children's books don't have many children that look like us or even
Exactly.
little shaded. They don't even. So therefore, when it comes time for our children to read, they're not looking at books that look like them. And so today they're like, I don't want to read that. I don't want to buy that. I don't want to read that. I don't want to buy that. And so therefore, I really thank you so much for highlighting teachers and parents of Black and brown children, and even Caucasian children, white children, because when we were at Sonia and I were a part of, and still a part of, whenever the next stop is the Black Child Book Fair. And there were other children there, and this one little girl, she was cute as a button. She's like, "Oh no, I want that book," and her sister said, "No, I want that one." And they didn't look nothing like either one of them children on that cover, but they wanted to read it, so they were open. The mama was, "All right, well, that's what they want. Here's the card, whatever." So therefore, I think sometimes it's not that people don't want to read books by us. They just don't know we're out there. They just don't know we exist.
Yeah,
so that's a part of what this is.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
representation matters, and so I've been with both of you all. I know Julia, and at the Indianapolis Black Expo, the student ran up and said,
Oh my gosh.
"I remember that book," and that was
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
to see characters that look like them, and also
Yes.
I'm very big on the way I depict the characters, the way they talk to each other. Sounds like our Black and brown, their language, their dialogue, their actions, and including things from like current media in the
Yes.
book, so they can relate to it. So that's very important. And I know, like you said, when I was with Sonia, um, there was a that little white kid that came up with his family, and he said, "Oh, mom, you always tell me to act my age." And so, yeah, just
Right,
being
right,
able to, have
right.
these books in different backgrounds of, families, like you said, is very important. So,
Yeah, because they might not look like the child on the cover, but they're still a child. I mean,
mhm.
let's just be honest. They're still a young person. They're still a child, and parents, regardless of backgrounds and cultures, still say the same things.
Mhm.
Still say the same thing. So it does make a difference, and it does radically change everything toward the future. And so I really, really, really encourage you to visit the website, follow these ladies on social media. So let's talk about the event. Coming up on June 19th, I'm super excited. I have always been, well, I have to confess this. I've always wanted to, as much as I travel, and my husband and I travel and travel alone, I've always wanted to take a group where I go. So I've been doing some of that definitely lately. This same group of ladies, we did a book talks in Zoom. So we were literally in the same school with different grades, and and if they know me, I was like, I'm gonna take the hard grade, and they were like, "You got kindergarten? That's not a hard grade." I was like, "Oh, yes, it is." And they were exactly like, they were like, "We had great time, child, and babies was doing everything." But anyway, kindergarten. Ooh, kindergarten is something else. I said, I'll take kindergarten because they at this juncture this year, they have not been in the building. Some of them may have been in Head Start, but not all of them. So anyway, So we've done some groups of things together, and which is a wonderful opportunity because, and just a hint to children's authors, when you do things as a group, it is always easier. It cuts the cost down. Instead of you having to do all the cost yourself, we can split the cost 5 ways instead of everybody doing their own thing. And then secondly, hopefully what should happen is there is 5 of us promoting the same event at the same time, as well as the 6th person, Tasha Dawson, who's hosting the event. So, who also is a children's author. So, the Impact Kids Boutique is going to be held June 19th in Lexington, Kentucky. And the address is 101 West Loudon. That's Loudon Avenue, Suite 105. Now, that's a major marketplace that's there. There are all kinds of food, and it's a marketplace. So come out. We're going to have, as a matter of fact, I even have activities for kids. I'm going to have little baggies of activities along with coming to support us there in Lexington. So if you can get there on a scooter, your car, plane, train, or automobile, or a skateboard, come meet us in Lexington, Kentucky. Now, we're also going to be on a radio. I think it's WLEX on Friday morning at 11 a.m. We're going to have an interview. And as a matter of fact, it's an hour long. Now, that's a long time in radio. To be on the radio an hour and have all of us on a full hour, that's a long time in radio. I don't care what market you're in. So that's a great opportunity for us, as well as a great opportunity for those in Lexington, Kentucky area. So before we go, I was wanting to see if there's any questions out there.
Yeah, it's Radio Lex you sent us.
Radio Lex. Did I say WLEX? Radio Lex? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we have an opportunity to be on there tomorrow at 11 a.m. So if you're listening to that radio station, reach out to us. We'll be in Lexington on June 19th. Find it. We are posting it on our social media. We will be there from 10 to 4. I'll be there the night before. So 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Bring your young people out. Come ready to support us. As I say, we take cards. We take cash. We'll be all ready to be there, and we'll be in full force with inventory. So before we go, I always want each author to really give a tip, because I know there are some people who will listen now or listen on the replay and say, "Oh, I've always wanted to write a children's book. Oh, So I want you to give just one tip that you feel has really been important on your children's book journey. Sonia, you want to start?
Yes. We are all busy. We live in a busy society. We're always ripping and running and doing everything. My tip for anybody that has a story on their heart and on their mind is to write. Writers write, whether it's 15 minutes, one sentence, one subject, one anything, just write a little bit every day.
Great. Rihanna, tip for a writer?
Well, first I was going to say, I'm going to bring some books also to the event, some blank books where kids can make books if they would like to create books.
Great.
I may need some markers and things, Julie, if you have.
Yeah, but I think she's going to provide that.
Okay, awesome.
She's going to have coloring books. Coloring crayons and all that kind of good stuff. So
okay.
Yeah, we'll have an opportunity for that.
Okay, awesome. So I would say just be prepared for your story. I know a lot of us kind of are nervous about our art and our work and putting it out there, but be bold with it and be prepared for other people to relate to your work, and be prepared to be busy, because, Julia knows I juggle a lot of different things, but I noticed that, people are wanting to hear more about my character and the story and asking me to speak at, different workshops and, different events. So, don't underestimate your work, and be prepared to share it and for people to learn from it. And people need to hear your story, like Sonia said. So just be bold and put yourself out there. Share it with people. I know I shared my book before I published it with youngsters and like got their reaction first.
Yeah, that's always a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's your number one audience is kids. So you want to make sure they enjoy
Yeah,
it. So
and the
yeah,
character,
those are my
and what
tips.
the
You said
cover,
one, but I
yeah,
gave
and
like
what the
5.
cover looks like, and all of that. Being able to share that, I think my
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing
Yeah.
is piggybacking on both of you. Yeah, be ready to write and be ready to talk about it, but be ready to show up for it. A
Mm-hmm.
part of it is promotion. A part of it is if you put the work in for the writing of it, you put the work in and the money in that it takes to publish. So, because it doesn't matter which avenue you publish, there's going to be a level of expense, whether it's the ISBN number, whether it's copyright, whether it's the graphics, whether it's the illustration, whether it's the cover, whether somebody else has to lay it out, however you do it. If you're able to do it all, great. But I know very few people who are able to do every piece without having an editor or somebody else. But if you're going to go through that whole publishing journey, be ready to show up for your book itself. Be ready to, as they say, give an account. Be ready to speak about it, be excited about it, to talk about it. And if you need help, yeah, you definitely have to do that. All right. So before we go, she got in just in time. There she is. There she is. Okay. So I'm going to remove us. And
Hey, what do you want me to do? You want me to just talk about myself and my books? Okay, so my name is Jen Spalding, and I am the author of The Adventures of Lily, and that is a children's book series about my daughter. And it's about our adventures, not only of Lily, but of our family as well. When she was little, she had a speech delay and sensory issues. And so it took me a minute to totally understand what sensory issues were, even though she had speech therapy and occupational therapy. It still took a while for me to really understand what they are, which, if you don't know, is where you have 5 senses and 2 hidden senses, and it's where you are oversensitive or undersensitive to the stimuli in your environment. So just think of the tag in the back of your shirt. Some people that really bothers, some people don't. The nails on the chalkboard, that's an irritating sound to a lot of people. Some people it doesn't bother. Or you could think of the foods that don't taste quite right in your mouth. Some people don't feel comfortable in crowds or around a lot of people. Some people don't like kisses and hugs. Some people don't feel comfortable in their clothing. It's too tight or whatever. Some people don't like their foods touching. Now, everyone with a sensory issue doesn't mean that it rises to a diagnosis. Sometimes people, I know I have them. Now that I'm older and have a child that had sensory issues and I have researched it, I know that I've had some proprioceptive sensory issues when I was a child, but no one knew what they were. And I think I really know, just as a former educator, I'm always an educator, but I taught school for 27 years. And a lot of children have sensory issues. And it is, I think I like to say, your kids aren't necessarily bad. A lot of times they just have a sensory issue that needs to be worked out and understood. So I like for people to gain from the knowledge from my books to understand their children better and themselves better. And in the back of each of my 4 books, the first book is an introduction, and each book is about a different sensory issue. And I wanted to say we take in information to our brains through our senses. So you learn that the stove is hot because you touch it and it's hot, and that sends signals to your brain. And so I want you to think about glasses. What do glasses do? I don't have 20/20 vision. However, when I put my glasses on, I now do. I now have 20/20 vision when I wear my glasses, which I don't know where they are, but that's okay. And so, but we can't do that with the rest of our bodies. we can't make all of the rest of our bodies 2020. Okay. And so I would like for parents, I like the children to know that they're not alone. And I like for the parents to know that, hey, this sounds a lot like my child. Let me do this checklist in the back of this book and see if my child might have some type of a sensory issue. The first book, like I said, is an introduction. The second book is about sensory issues to light. My child did not like having her picture taken. And it's because she had a sensory issue to it. And so that book is the funniest one I have because it's about how she refused to let the picture taking guy take her picture at the daycare. So that was something. And that was called Picture Perfect Knot. And then the third book is called Jump a Ween, which is Malia had one of the hidden sensory issues, which she had a sensory issues. Proprioception is where not really being comfortable with your body, not body awareness, not knowing where your body is in space kind of thing. And if you would think about it, have you ever, I know some of you, I'm sure many of you have had a tooth extracted, and you know how you're hitting it because you want to feel your face again from it being numb. Well, that is how proprioception is. It's like those kids, they're the ones that are always touching people and feeling people's hair and rocking back, and they want to feel their body. So they're always moving, and they're actually paying more attention when they're moving and sitting on their knees and doing all that than when they're sitting still, because when they're moving, they're trying to feel their bodies, trying to listen and try to focus. And I know as a teacher, that was like, sit on your bottom. Now I understand more why they don't. But that's proprioception. And then the fourth book is about sensory issues to touch. And it's called No Kiss, No Hug, because my daughter did not like kisses and hugs. And we were going to my parents' house where that's all they wanted to do was kiss and hug you and love on you. So those are my 4 books. And I hope that you will check me out on my website, www.jennoonspalding.com. Thank you.
Awesome. Is this correct? Is this the correct website there? Jen Noon 2
Yeah,
N's right there?
yeah, jennoonspalding.com. Yes, it is. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jen. So glad you were able to join us. Oh my goodness. So coming up on Saturday, it will be 6 of us all together. Miss Tasha Dawson, as well as myself, and Minister Pastor Sharon Hunter, as well as Brianna C. Hogue, Sonia Moran Royston, and Miss Jen Noon Spalding. So you all be blessed. Have a fantastic evening. I hope to see most of you and all of you and at least some of you on June 19th in Lexington, Kentucky at the Impact Kids Boutique. Be blessed and have a great evening. Bye-bye.